So our next step is going to be setting up the thumbnails. The thumbnails are a little bit different because we have to do many of them, and the thumbnails don't have to be done in Illustrator, meaning you can hand sketch them and drop them in. I do want to see your parti diagram done in Illustrator like this, but if you're going to do like an illustrative sketch of what your building's going to look like, that can just be a hand sketch that you drop in as well. Like what I was talking about, if you have your parti diagram up here, and you're showing a sketch of what you think your building's going to develop to be down here, that can just be a hand sketch. But I'm just doing the parti diagram and my thumbnails. So what I have here are some diagrams of what my building is going to become. Or so I think at this stage. This is just what I'm planning it to be. Things may change. I might go a different direction. My design might look nothing like this in the end. But this is a roadmap for me. So a conceptual roadmap. So anyway, right now that's in, oh great, Photoshop is not working. All right. So I need to submit a ticket for that, I guess, because that was happening to us the other day, if I recall. But anyway, so there's a way to kind of crop this down in Illustrator too, but it's a little more complicated. I'll show you here in just a moment. So if for some reason your, wow, that came in huge. Hang on. Okay, so what we have here is our sketches. I'm going to scale this, so transform, and you can scale it. Let's make it like 25%. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. So I'm going to set that aside while I'm setting up my actual, what am I calling it? My thumbnail sizes. One of the things that I think is going to be important here is showing you how to set a specific guide in a particular location, which I'm hoping it works the same way as, oh, there's no make guide. How come I can't make guide? All right, well, anyway, let's see. We can approximate it for now. So we have 8.5 inches in that direction, so 8.5 divided by 3, that's 2.83, almost 3 inches. Okay, so we're going to go to, let's do 3, and then we'll pull this one back. I'll probably just separate these by 1/4 inch, and then I'll go down to there, and there. Close enough for now. And then the other one I'm going to do is in the vertical direction, because I only have 6 of these. So I believe that is, let's see, we have, where are we? 5 3/4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 3/4. So we need to go 2 3/8. So 1, 2. Yeah, all right, so that's where we want to be there, so I'm going to put one there and one there. Okay, so my diagrams need to fit in these cells. So anyway, the way that we start cropping this down in Illustrator is a little bit different than what you're used to in Photoshop or in InDesign, if you know those. What you need to do is create what's called I think it's called a clipping mask. So the way that's done is you just create a form over top of the sketch that you want to crop, like that. Well, it's set really weird. Like that. It could even be, you know, filled in, whatever. You just need to put a rectangle over top of what you're trying to crop, and then you go to, you select both of them, 1 and 2, and then you say Object, Clipping Mask, and Make, or Control-7, and it's going to crop that thing down, like that. Okay? So that is totally different than the way you crop in Photoshop, and it's totally different than the way you crop in InDesign. So this is one of those weird things, just like guides. Guides behave totally different in the 3 software packages as well. So there's one. I'm going to size these in a little bit, but really the process just keeps going from there. I can leave that one in, drop a new one, and then I can say transform, scale. Let's make this 25 again. I I think what I'm going to do here with this, though, since I've already scaled them down, is I'm just going to copy my the 5 other copies in before I start cropping them. Yes?
Instead of copying 6 times, can you just create like 6 rectangle and just mask all at the same time?
No, it won't work that way.
I don't think so.
Doesn't work?
I don't think you can do it that way. All right, so copy paste. I'm just going to make a bunch of these. 4, 5, and then this one, I can grab this, make it a yellow box, and I'm going to pull that across here. So select that, Control 7, and then you can drop it in. So just keep doing that process the whole way through. I'm only really, what I was going to do is just take it into Photoshop and then just copy it, because you could just put your box in Photoshop and copy the image and then go into Illustrator and paste it. That's kind of a little bit faster than doing this, but Photoshop's not working for us, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Control 7. Put that there. Grab this one. Rectangle. Select. Control 7. There. 1, 2 more. Oh, nope, not rotate. Rectangle.
So we can draw it by hand, we don't have to retrace it.
Yeah, you can do these by hand. The idea here is that you're moving fast, you're thinking through the ideas and with relative efficiency, and yeah.
Well, I think you have more than 6 domains.
Then you're going to have to just format your page to fit it properly.
Okay.
If you need more than 6, then you might make a smaller diagram. What you could do if you have a lot of images is you could take the top left quadrant or top third, put your diagram there, and then just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth, just throughout the format.
Can't you just copy the clipping mask and just adjust it?
I don't think that it is a live link back to the original image after you put the clipping mask on. There might be a hotkey that allows you to stretch it and pull it, similar to InDesign, but I don't know of it. Yeah, I only use Illustrator a few times, here and there for this kind of stuff. So.
Like when you were a student, like when you do presentation, what kind of software do you use to make it?
I used probably, you're going to use them all. You're going to use Photoshop to dress up your renders and maybe just for simple cropping and stuff like that. You're going to use, and for your elevations and stuff maybe too. You're going to use Illustrator for your diagrams. You're going to use Illustrator. I even used Illustrator for my floor plans mostly. Yeah, I didn't do my floor plans in AutoCAD. I dropped it into Illustrator because it's a lot easier to change line weights and make them look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll show you the process sometime if you guys are really interested. Yeah.
That's what I saw that I liked.
Yeah, and also dropping in like background colors and stuff like that, like color fills and everything. It's a lot easier in Illustrator. Yeah. All right, so guys, this is essentially the whole half of your final. It's already done. Then it's just do the rendering, right? You need to model it and do the rendering. The only other thing is that I wanted to point out here, I added in a small requirement right here, concept statement. I want this to be a maximum of 2 sentences, preferably 1. And so for me, that is my concept statement. And where that's going to go is somewhere near your partee diagram. So for me, I'm going to slide this up ever so slightly and justify it to the boundary at the top of the page. And I'm just going to drop this thing in down here in the bottom left. So this is, let's see. I do want to see what your 2 elements are. So you're going to want to say transportation and population density. And my I'm calling out, I'm going to put in parentheses for mine, safety, because that's sort of what I'm designing for. It's sort of the inverse of density. I'm trying to pull people apart because, you know, of safety concerns. So, so that's my concept, my two concept words. You can set this up however you want. I could do it like this and something like that. And then goal, engage users in dense conditions as little as possible. Now, Iggy will be the first to tell you that I absolutely suck at text. I'm really, really bad at choosing what kind of text to use, so I tend to just stick with really basic stuff like Arial all the time. I try to just get away from it as much as possible. But just don't use anything silly like, I don't know, like, yeah, don't use any sans. Arial looks like that. It's just really simple and kind of impersonal. One of the ones that I'm into right now that kind of gets me out of a lot of binds is Calibri.
It's actually nice.
Yeah. I just don't have to think about it too much. So that's, I like that. You don't like Calibri?
What would you use, Yvonne? Arial.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. I mean, you guys can dress it up and make the text like really nice and stuff like that, but it's not critical for this. I mean, on your portfolio, what's going to happen is, I'm sort of giving this to you as like you're going to have a spread for this in your portfolio, right? Which is why we're paying so much attention to format. So ideally, you can just take this thing, drop it into your portfolio, and change the text to match whatever your text format is in your portfolio, and maybe just shift things around a little bit, and you've got your page already ready to go. Okay, so that's why I'm limiting you on text. I want to see, you know, just a quick statement about what your concept is, and then we're good to go. What questions do you have? Yes?
The sketches, what exactly are we showing?
What's that?
The sketches? Is it how we plan to make them all?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I think the final description describes that well enough. So maybe I could be wrong though. No, I'm not saying that like you didn't read it. Like I'm saying you didn't read it. I'm questioning myself because maybe I didn't write it well enough. But this right here is the same exercise we did a few weeks back. Remember, I had you guys diagram out how you're going to approach, or how you did approach a certain model. Well, this is that, except now you're doing it as a design exercise. You're thinking about what your concept is and sort of where you want to go with it, and then you're thinking about what steps you might take to get there. Okay, so the first one, I'll kind of walk you through it. This first one here is, it's almost the same diagram that we saw before, where it's just using construct domain or scale to pull things, you know, into inner frames and then subtract, right? And then I'm taking that element and I'm looking at it here in how I'm going to create these extrusions that you saw in that illustrative sketch that I put on the board. So I'm looking at like, well, am I gonna move them and then move them up, or am I gonna rotate them out to get the effect that I want? Which one's better, move or rotate, right? I chose rotate, so that's what I diagrammed. I think I'm gonna go with rotate. And then down here, I'm looking at sort of what the design of the facade is. So there's the main illustrative diagram here that shows, like, I want these bars, the panels, I want them to kind of pop off and shift back and forth and get longer and shorter as it's closer to the more dense part of the structure. And then I showed this sub-diagram of here at this end, they're very close to one another, but at that end, they're spreading apart from one another. So on and so forth all the way through the design process, really. But it doesn't have to be every single step. It's a conceptual approach to the major phases of what you're going to develop.
Would you rather have a sketch, or can we do it in Illustrator?
You can do it in Illustrator if that's what you'd prefer. I'm doing it in Sketch because, or I'm showing it to you and allowing sketches because this is supposed to be a design charrette. And when you're in a design charrette, you kind of move really fast, and you just kind of you sketch and you toss it to the side, and you sketch and you toss it to the side, and sketch, and you just keep doing it until you get it right, and then you move on to the next phase, right? So if you want to redo these diagrams and just do them in Illustrator, that's fine. It's probably something that you might want to do eventually anyway when you get to the portfolio level, but you know, it's up to you. I like to leave my sketches right in my portfolio. I have sketches kind of littered around my portfolio, just like this, everywhere. So, any other questions? None? All right, cool. So there's one half of your final. And then starting next week, we can start proceeding into design.
That's one half?
Yeah. Well, I mean, is it really one half? No. I mean, it's one half of the product, but it's probably only like 10% of the work.
Damn, nothing to model.
All right.